My Golan is giving us a testament about women's rights in the context of what's going on right now in the Middle East. I'm Tall, the traveling clad, your favorite Zionist prince. Let's take a look at this clip.
I stand here today as Israel's Minister for Social Equality and the Advancement of Women, representing the silenced voices of Israeli women. On October 7th, Israeli women were brutally raped and slaughtered by Nazi Hamas terrorists. Their bodies were mutilated, their heads decapitated, they endured gang rapes and were burned alive. For the past year, the voices of global women's organizations have fallen silent, those who falsely claim the title of feminists. These hypocrites shout, "Me too," but only if you're not a Jew. To you all, I present this grave indictment. Since the war began, I have reached out to each of you, women's and human rights organizations, through every possible channel, with one clear demand: publicly condemn what was done to women in Israel. But there was no response, only a thunderous silence. Why? Because in your eyes, the blood of Israeli and Jewish women is worth less, far, far less. Let me teach you something about feminism, as you clearly lack understanding. True feminism isn't dyeing your hair blue and dancing in the middle of European streets. True feminism isn't staying silent when mothers, grandmothers, and young women are slaughtered, raped, and kidnapped. True feminism stands with Shiri Bibas, who were kidnapped with her 2 infants, not with the monsters who tore her from her safe bedroom in her pajamas. Not with them. True feminism stands with the only democracy in the Middle East, not with the deranged dictatorships where women are shot for allowing a strand of hair to escape their headscarves. The first rule of feminism: when a woman tells you she's been brutally raped and her legs have been cut off, your first response should be, "I'm so terribly sorry. How can I help?" Not demanding forensic evidence. Or maybe, just maybe, asking the question that your organizations are very well known of: "Are you okay?" This was their slogan, right? When she tells you she was forced to shower at the gunpoint in captivity with a terrorist touching and kissing her, you should offer her huge help of any kind, not a knife right in her back. You all of you saw the mutilated, burned, limbless bodies of Israeli women. We found Israeli women shot in their genitals, and it didn't even move you one bit. I didn't see you dance with tambourines, chanting like you do all the time, "Ceasefire now, ceasefire now," when Tamar and Jonathan from Nir Oz were slaughtered along with their 3 young children, while our children fought with their bare hands against thousands of Nazi-like monsters invading our homes and our land. The murder of Jewish families is not a just struggle against oppression. Not at all. All of you just know how to shout empty slogans, ridiculous slogans about free Gaza. You support all this while you support the subhumans who dismantle Israeli women to parts and hammer dozens of nails into their private organs. That is what you ignore all the time. You embrace the 5 men who, armed with knives and hammer, dragged a naked Israeli woman on the ground, gathered around her as she screamed for her life, raped her, and finally slaughtered her. I'm not disappointed in you. I'm disgusted. I despise you. You are all liars. You are all actresses. After this grave indictment, I have one conclusion. I find you guilty. Guilty of abandoning Jewish Israeli women's blood. Guilty of betraying women's basic rights. And your sentence is one. Your sentence for eternal shame. You will be remembered for who you really are. Your historical role ended on October 7th. You're proven to be without any real agenda or any moral backbone. You're anti-Semites who don't care about women's rights or any human rights for that matter. We will protect our mothers and sisters and daughters from terrorist organizations and from you, the accomplices of the terrorists in your fake women's rights organizations. And always, always remember, from the river to the sea, Jewish women will be free. Never again. Never again.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to like what I have to say here, okay? You're not going to like it. You're just not going to like this. And I'm even tempting. No, I should say it. I need to say it. I appreciate my Golan's sentiment so much, and I stand with everything that she said in this video. But this video is Hasbara. This video is Israel on the defense. This video is not how we sway the minds of the public. And now let me explain a couple issues. It was so important to Israel, to our administration, to Jewish groups, especially Jewish groups in the West who control the narrative of all Jews around the world and all Israelis, which is that is the truth. There is no difference between Jewish groups in the West and Israel. They speak for us. And by virtue, we speak for them. That's why after October 7th, random Jews in the West who have no connection to Israel are getting attacked. We're a tiny group of people. People see Israel as a Jewish country. Israel is the country of the Jews, and Jews are the people of the country of Israel, no matter where they live. We were so focused in Israel on proving to the world that we're this equal rights democracy of LGBTQ rights, women's rights, feminism, all this bullshit, okay, who has a hierarchy of priorities. And we embrace these ideas, especially Jews in the West, embrace these liberal ideas of DEI to prove a race color spectrum hierarchy. It was so important for us to be a part of that world. When I say us, I mean the people in control of our PR and our narrative. It was so important for us to prove to the world that we're this just, democratic, equal rights, feminist place that we fucked ourselves. They don't give a fuck about anyone. They're morally corrupt, the same way that my Golan said. But our issue is we were blind to see that, or it was so important to us to appease them because of our love to prove to people that we're good people, because there's so much hatred against us, that we realized we put ourselves in a trap. They were never going to stand for us. They never stand for their own shit that they say. Why? Has global feminism ever stood up for the women's generally mutilated in Africa? Have they ever actually done anything to stop that practice? No, because a lot of it has to do with Islam. Or a lot of it happens in Muslim countries. And a lot of it happens because of Islamic men. So we don't talk about it. We don't touch it. We don't do anything about it. Because we're not allowed to. There's a moral hierarchy. Jewish lives trump talking about Muslim people. You cannot talk about Jewish people dying if it somehow takes over Muslim people dying. Muslim people dying is higher up the echelon system of Jewish people dying. And that's because Jewish people are now white. It doesn't matter if the women murdered on October 7th were Mizrahi women who came from the Middle East, who genetically their whole family's tie came from the Middle East. So did Ashkenazi, by the way, but just visually, at least, they look very Middle Eastern. It doesn't matter that Sigal Itach, who was a Ethiopian Jewish woman, a beautiful Ethiopian Jewish woman, was murdered on October 7th. It doesn't matter that she was an Ethiopian Jew. Her life is below the life of a Muslim person, and hence you cannot talk about it. You don't talk about it. You're not allowed to mention it. And as Israel, I hope we take away from this and learn that these leftist organizations, or these organizations that are on the moral left, they don't stand for anything. They are morally bankrupt. They always have been. They always will be. They don't stand for anyone. They don't stand for equal rights or for moral rights or for human rights. All of that is unraveled. And Israel needs to stop doing this. Stop preaching everything is anti-Semitic, because I don't even believe that most of these people are anti-Semitic. They're just morally corrupt. They don't hate Jews. They hate humanity. They just like to posture. In the same sentence, they will tell you that they're all about empowering women, and also they will stand with the IRGC in enforcing a hijab. In the same sentence, they'll do that. I don't think it's even fair to call these people anti-Semites. That's what puts us in a bad position in the first place. We can't claim everything is anti-Semitic, especially things like this. I don't agree with my Golan in this specific instance. They're not all anti-Semitic, and that's one of the problems that we have as Jews. Jews in the West and the ideologies of Jews in the West need to stop controlling us. We are not a democratic nation. We are not a liberal nation. That's not who we are. If we want to be liberal and democratic, we need to figure out how to bring that into our traditional values. And this isn't me being a conservative about it, because fuck that also. We are Jews. We're a tribe. We're a family. We're allowed to have autonomy. We don't need to follow the guys of the left, and we don't need to follow the guys of the right. I'm condemning them all. They're all morally bankrupt. Get the fuck out of the binary system. We need to build something that works for us as Jews, as Israelites in this region. That's inclusive of the things we want for the future and the essence of our past. But we need to stop pretending and stop posturing towards organizations and people that never gave a fuck, not just about us, but about everyone. We are not special in this case. They are not condemning us. Their silence is silence for every Muslim woman that is under a hijab or being a part of a fourth marriage or being oppressed. They don't stand for anyone, not just us. They don't stand for anyone. We're not special in that case. And what I'm telling you is, if we keep condemning everything as anti-Semitism, we'll never move forward. I condemn these organizations because they're morally bankrupt, not because they hate Jews. And I think that's one issue with my Golan speech. The rest of it, I agree with it. I sign off on it. I think it's fantastic. I think the thing she says is good. But we need to have a serious discussion as Jews. How the fuck do we isolate ourselves and get away, run away in a sprint from the ideologies of Western Judaism? We need to run from it, from this idea of LGBTQ democratic Israel. Not because I'm anti-LGBTQ. I'm all about LGBTQ. I just don't think that's what needs to represent us. It doesn't make sense. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. It's never helped us. It's never stood for us. And at the end of the day, all those organizations stabbed us in the back. But the biggest thing is they stabbed us in the back, not because it's us, but because it's them. They're morally corrupt. We're not the problem. We're not isolated in that incident. They stab everyone in the back. Every gay person in the Arab world or in sub-Saharan Africa that's stoned to death for being gay or set on fire for being gay or thrown off a rooftop for being gay, all of these organizations abandon them. And they abandon us as well, and they will keep abandoning us. We need to stand for ourselves and the values that we believe in, not what we want them to think we believe in. So more power to my Golan for this fantastic speech. I have some issues and critiques like I always do, but that's why you watch my channel, because I'm trying to be as honest with you guys as possible. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you a long time. Goodbye, Klats. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.